John Beaudin, Brock History Music. You know, I'm itchy tonight. I get itchy sometimes when I get nerved up a little bit. And even though my parents never went through a divorce, a lot of my friends, I'm sure a lot of your friends went through a divorce, their parents, or maybe your parents did, and you know how that felt, which is, let me just turn my emails off. You know what that feels like. You know, one of the reasons people get itchy is because they get nervous. You know, it's one of the main culprits when you're all nervous. It's a way of your body showing you that you're a little nerved out. Good worker. Thumbs down. Yeah, well, thumbs down for what's going on in Journey right now. Now, The War of the Roses came out, I think, what was it, 1989? I've got it in front of me. And it was the third movie that Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito did after Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile. I like the two first movies. I went to see The War of the Roses, and I remember walking out because the ending's not good. At the ending, it looks like they're going to, you know, if you've got something to say it. Remember Michael Douglas? And she says, I want a divorce. But at the end, it looks like they're making up, and you're going, Romancing the Stone is coming back. You know, there's a little reprieve here in all the drama that goes on. But at the end, I mean, Michael Douglas falls down, and what does she say? Is that hot enough for you or whatever? I'm paraphrasing. But the end is cruel, and it looks like this is a marriage from hell. So of course it will be a divorce from hell. And I'm not sure why the Journey situation has turned into this debacle. And I've talked to people, you know, for the Journey guys who covered, you know, the people who do what I do and they're covering Journey, and they never interview anybody, it seems. And that happens now and then where you go, I've got inside information. Well, maybe they do. Chances are they don't. And most of us, I've got a few people. If you read my interviews, you'll kind of figure out who I'm getting information from. But even they don't know what's really going on. There's new stuff, and I'll share this with you. I've kind of kept away from this a little bit. I kept away from the Journey stuff, but I started reporting it, and I hate to do all this preamble, but there's a part of me, and some people have said, John, why don't you just continue reporting on it? And I didn't want to. But tonight, here I am, hanging out, and we're getting a lot of... So, what's the latest? Oh, Neil Sean, this is the latest headline, says fans will see Journey co-founder Greg Rolie on the 50th anniversary tour. Now, Jonathan Cain has not responded to this, and most of the speculation has been 50-50. Will Jonathan Cain not come on here? Because they're suing each other. So Neil Sean came out first and said, first of all, Jonathan Cain had this American Express through Journey. He didn't have access to it. Jonathan Cain says, yes, you do. What's going on? People started blaming the wives. And it became just crazy. There's a 50th anniversary tour coming up. That has to happen. They're not going to reimburse this money. For whatever reason, people are thinking, well, someone needs money. Remember what Steve Porcaro of Toto told me. Why do people tour? Because they want to keep their stuff. That's not always the case. But that's the case an awful lot. So I'm not sure if Neil Sean or Jonathan Cain are running out of money, or it's just they don't like each other, or there was mistakes, or Neil Sean has a little fancy trigger finger, or so does Jonathan Cain. There was Steve Perry, suing them for copyright of songs a little while ago. There was the Ross Valerie, Steve Smith thing. I mean, there's a lot of drama in this band. But interestingly, when I went into Wiki, let me just see if I've still got it here. Yeah, I went into Wiki with the list of past and present members of Journey. And I noticed that even though there's been a lot of drama in this band, there hasn't been that much, and I know there's a lot, but in comparison to other bands, that much turnaround when you consider a band that goes back to the early 70s, right? Coming out of Santana. So I was kind of surprised by that because I haven't looked at it in a little while. Steve Perry's been out of the band for a lot of years. There's been, a lot of incarnations. I'll get your comments in a second. I can hear a lot of people are talking. The latest, like I said, is Greg Rolie's coming back. That is just a good thing. And even when all the people are releasing the stories about Greg and Greg leaving supposedly because of Steve Perry and Greg saying, I didn't like my lifestyle at the time. He was drinking too much. He was going through a lot of stuff. What is that? Oh, someone's calling me, I think. Anyway, I can understand all that. Oh, you know what it is? It's my alarm. It's my alarm to remind me to do my radio show in Vancouver. I will do it after this. So anyway, Greg Rolie's coming back. That's a good thing. One fan says, I am so looking forward to this. Please tell Rolie, I hope Rolie's coming back for the ride. He's a better keyboard player and a co-founder. It's only the right thing. It's only right. Timing is everything, but right? So in one post that just came out a few hours ago from Reuters, Journey Neil Sean won't take orders from anyone. This is from Reuters. And Neil says, I haven't been here and not here to take orders. Never have, never will. It's my band, as it should be, and make the right changes as needed. So that's insinuating possibly that, I mean, if Greg Rolie's there and he's not getting along with Jonathan Cain, does that mean Jonathan Cain's out? Jonathan hasn't said anything as of now. I just checked it. And now there's a new thing that the headline, it's from the New York Post. So not always get my headlines from New York Post. Journey's Neil Sean accuses, I will not say that word, Jonathan Cain's wife of improperly accessing banks' account for the band. So it's Paula White, who's married to Jonathan Cain. I talked to Jonathan Cain about meeting Paula. He met her on a plane. And we had a great conversation about it. Jonathan was very nice to interview. I enjoyed talking to him. But that has nothing to do with this. That was just an interview for his book. Neil Sean I've reached out to multiple times. He's always responded to my comments on his page, but for whatever reason, he doesn't want to talk to me, and that's okay. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about stuff. I do ask sometimes the tough questions. Other times, there's no tough questions because the band just doesn't have a lot of drama. So I'm going to read some of your comments. So that's the latest. A lot of people were saying that Greg Rolie and Neil Sean haven't played together in a long time. That's not true. There was Journey Through Time, right? Remember that? That was a few years ago, 2018. Greg Rolie, Dean Castronovo, and Marco Mendoza. They did this tour, did really, really well. So, remember, War of the Roses didn't turn out good. This can't be a thing that can be... When hell freezes over the Eagles. Remember that? And everyone said, well, that's it. That's the final nail of the coffin. When Don Henley said that, when will the Eagles get back together when hell freezes over? Well, eventually hell froze over. There's nothing that's impossible. These guys aren't getting any younger. I don't know how long Neil Sean wants to tour. He seems like he's in pretty good shape. So does Jonathan Cain. They seem like they're in pretty good shape. As you can imagine, this channel's mostly interviews. I talk to a lot of guys where now and then I think, yeah, they're kind of finished touring pretty soon, right? And you can tell. Okay, a lot of comments. We've got 100 people on here. Good worker, thumbs down. Neutral 69. Yo, John, BK, I agree. I knew this was coming. It's just getting worse. Hey, Alex from Boston. Alex, you have a beautiful home and a beautiful family. Well, they still tour. Yeah, the show with Toto last year was very good. Alex, you're a true blue, great Toto fan. Christopher 628. Glad Rolie is coming to play keyboards on tour. I have to admit, I'm glad too. And he's a good guy. Hi, John from Elvor away. James Morrow, CJ James. Neil's latest tweet today indicates he's frustrated with people telling him what to do. Yes. Neutral 69 Journey. Melody. Hey. Hi, Melody. Samantha Munitz. Really good actress you are, Samantha. Hi, John. Hi, Samantha. My son's very impressed by you. Chase is very impressed. He says, There's a girl who's got a good head on her shoulders. That's what he said about Samantha. Regina says, I so wish that Steve Perry would tour, but he never will. That's very true. And you're saying it the best way anybody could. People want that. Remember when I talked to John Anderson? It's on our trailer. I said, I haven't, you know that everyone wants you to get back into yes. He says, yes, but do I want to be in that band? Because I don't think that band's very good. As you can imagine, I don't know Steve Perry, but as you can imagine, I interview a lot of people who know Steve Perry. A few of them know Steve Perry really well. And Steve Perry will never come back to that band. So, and he doesn't want to. Why would he? He doesn't have to. Steve Perry's enjoying his life. A big baseball fan. Likes going out. His Christmas album, I was listening to it this past Christmas. I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Steve Perry comes off as a cool guy. I don't know what happened. None of us really know ultimately what happened back then. But we got a pretty good idea. There you go. Gary Stuckey. It's definitely a mess. Thanks, Gary. Regina says, oh yeah, I read that. George Price. Okay. Question. Is Greg returning just for the tour or permanent? We don't know. It's a little early for that. I mean, it would be nice if you can't get along, get a lineup that can get along. Even though let's never underestimate Jonathan Cain's contributions, his writing contributions. When he was explaining to me Don't Stop Believin', the beginning of it, like one's a question and another part of the beginning's an answer. I mean, I thought that was cool. So never underestimate any part of this band, especially the main guys, right? And Greg Rolie was he was the lead singer. And again, I think I've got the quote here. Not that I have to necessarily read it because it's been said so many times. It's right here. Okay, back in 2019, Rolie told Rolling Stone magazine that he left Journey because, quote, because I didn't like my life anymore. I've said this a million times, and I know there's people who say that's not the real reason. But I left because I was unhappy with what I was doing in my own life. I love the management. I love the music. I love what we built. I just wasn't happy. So I had to blow the horn on and just stop it. He continues, everyone thinks it was Perry. By the way, that's what Trev Lukather calls him too. Trev Lukather, who's Steve Perry's the second dad to him, calls him Perry. Because Perry came in and started singing all the leads. My God, again, I was spread so thin with all these keyboard parts and singing leads. He was a welcome sight to me. And he could sing like a bird. And it's true. And he still has great things to say about everybody. You know, everybody, Greg Rolie, seems like a class guy. So let me read some more of your comments. Michael says it should be Journey opening up for Toto. Toto is the band. That's true, but when I looked that up on specific other parts like Spotify, subscriptions, and sales, I can I get it. I can understand that. Do I like Toto 100 times more than Journey? Everyone knows I'm a huge Toto fan. I've interviewed so many people in and out of that band. It's crazy. So yes, of course, I'm a way bigger Toto fan, but I love Journey too. I saw Toto once. I've seen Journey once. So, but don't you remember War of the Roses, how you felt, you know, as much as after watching Romancing the Stone and the sequel, there was just a joyous feel, sort of an Indiana Jones romance feel to that whole movie. And I know it was fluffier than the other ones, but they were fun to watch, and I enjoyed watching them. And then War of the Roses comes out, and it's the same people, including Danny DeVito, and you're going, oh my God, this is so heavy. This is like watching my parents go through a divorce, and you're living in the house, and they're still living in the house, and neither one of them want to give up the house. Everyone has gone through that, whether through their own family or through a friend's family or whatever, right? Or maybe you went through it yourself, personally. We know the feeling. It feels heavy. One of the reasons I've stayed out of reporting on this, and it's my duty to really do this, because if you're going to start reporting on it, you can't just stop. So the latest is Neil Sean is saying, Paula White, get your nose out of the American Express account. And also Neil Sean saying today, I will do what I want. I haven't been here or not here to take orders, is a quote. Never and never have, never will. It's my band, he says, and I'll own it as I should and make the right changes as needed. There you go. It's pretty heavy stuff. So that's insinuating it seems like Jonathan Cain will be out of the next tour. A lot of people, if that's the case, I'm not picking sides here, will not be very happy with that because Jonathan Cain was a big part of this. But you got to get along. You know, the kids might want their parents to stay together, but that's nice. That's a nice dream. Remember, all the kids want the parents to stay together. But is that really a good idea in the long run? Will that kill the kid? Will that kill the fans? Will that kill the concert? Can they stay together? Can they tour? I don't think so. So, I don't know, man. Greg Rolie's a good guy, and he's a great musician. And I've always liked his voice. He's no Steve Perry, but it's a different ilk. It's a different lane than Steve Perry, right? No one sounds like Steve Perry. Okay, let's get back to it. Hey, Kim Trickle, how are you, Kim? Big supporter of our channel. Oh, Gary Stuckey says it would be nice if it was all staged. Yeah, but it's not. I used to think Gwen Stefani and what's his name? Blake Shelton. I remember trying to get my brain around the fact, I said, there's no way that Gwen Stefani is with Blake Shelton. They seem like, has Gwen Stefani been faking all this time? Or like, is there something about these two people we don't get? It's like this. I don't understand this much drama. I've gone through a divorce, and some of my friends who watched, and my ex-wife is one of my dearest friends, and Shannon, my wife, loves Lynn. But when Lynn and I were together, it was crazy. It was chaos. We just weren't meant to be together on that capacity. We were meant to be friends. So I'm saying this because sometimes it just doesn't, no matter what you do, you get like the kids, it's the dream of them staying together, but you shouldn't be together. I couldn't even see it at the time. Okay, Davida says, Cain was praised by Steve as when the music changes had to happen. Gary, would be nice if it was staged. Jewish Cowboy. Rolie didn't cover Cain's parts on Journey Through Time. Needed a second keyboardist. They might have. I mean, I remember Travis Thibodeau. Remember, Travis Thibodeau is the keyboardist that I interviewed in full. I had a long interview for an hour and a half with Travis Thibodeau, who was touring with them. I can give you the exact dates. Let's not fool around here. I've got it right here. Travis Thibodeau was with Journey from 2015 to 2019. Keyboards, backing vocals, lead vocals on one or two songs to give Arnel Pineda a break. I put out super chat. Hey, John, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, $10. I appreciate that, John. Appreciate it. Thanks for contributing to the channel. So Travis did an interview with me, like I said, for about at least 90 minutes. We had a great talk. We talked about Toto a lot because he's talked about so many different bands. And then I put the first interview clip out. And the first interview clip basically said, did Travis Thibodeau notice any drama when he was touring with Journey? Now, the second you clicked on the video, you hear that they actually got along really well. I'm assuming that he was telling the truth, right? If someone tells me something, unless I have other information, I'm not going to say, hey, are you sure about that? You know? So he said that, and Jonathan Cain brought Travis Thibodeau into the band. So after that video went up, I was told to take the video down. Now, I didn't have to, but let's just say I had to do the right thing for someone. And I didn't want to harm anybody's career. So I took the video down. And then the interview has been in this computer that I'm using right now ever since there. Now, Travis is not in the band anymore, and there's always a part of me that wants to put out the rest. There's no salacious things. That was the only thing. Everything else is really good stuff about Jonathan, good stuff about Neil Sean, about Steve Perry and his admiration for Steve Perry. And if you look up Travis Thibodeau Journey, that guy can sing, man. He's a great, talented musician and a real nice guy. So drama was there at that point. When CNN reported that there was a problem with Journey concerning the White House, I'm not mentioning political stuff here, that I reported on it, and Jeannie Most on CNN had put my clip up and another vlogger's clip up about, is Journey breaking up? But it's just a lot. Now, for a second, stop and just feel it, and you go, ah. And don't say, oh, John, you're contributing to it. Well, I report on Journey. Journey is one of the main bands we report on. Right? We don't want to be like a channel that doesn't report on things, even though I don't want to necessarily report on this. Regina, I've seen the Eagles too many times to count. Saw Felder one night and the Eagles the next. I have to say Felder gave them a run for their money. Oh, Regina. I don't know if it's Regina. Regina. Heavy Mayo. What a name, Heavy Mayo. That's cool. Neil Sean, till this day, practices like a madman. That's why he's incredible. He does, and he shows it on YouTube. He's an amazing guitarist. The Jewish Cowboy. Rolie didn't cover Kane's parts. Oh, I saw that. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. Kramer. Neil would never quit playing, as far as I know. Surfer Boy. I'm tired of this journey drama. Yeah, it's like Fleetwood Mac drama. Just go away. But the Fleetwood Mac thing, I don't find was as War of the Roses as this. Seems like every few days or something, right? I feel like I'm reporting on my best friend's, and I love Journey, my best friend's divorce every time I come on here and say this. But I know that, it gets a lot of people talking, and I know that people want to talk about it. There's 130 people on here, 132. Just went down to 122. Michael says Felder's was a major voice as well. Well, he only sang Visions for the Eagles. He only sang one song. These Amazing Places. The best Yes lineup I've seen in years was Anderson, Wakeman, and Rabin. Yeah. Rabin's still working on that album. Regina says, not really, but he and Joe are phenomenal together. XOXO Bob, Rock History Music. I saw Journey in concert back in the 80s. This was a mess. And this mess is heartbreaking. It's true. I saw the, hold on. Darius Harris. Going to go from bad to worse. Jeez. Why do people even have bands anymore? People can't and won't get along. Pat Michaels, Pat Paradise Rock Station. I have no idea what you're trying to say there. Do you have a rock station? Michael says, it should be Journey opening for Toto. I got that. George Price. Oh, yeah. What Jonathan contributed is without question. No doubt. Jonathan contributed a lot. I mean, you consider they co-wrote their biggest song, right? Jim says, Rolie cannot sing the Perry stuff. No, he can't. That would be Dean and Neil and Arnel Pineda. Okay, Pat, you're giving yourself a lot of plugs there. David, perhaps Rolie can play some songs from Abraxas. Yes, Santana. Darius, oops, here we go again. Sorry about that. Regina says, Gary Stuckey don't have a YouTube channel. Jim, they hired Perry because Rolie can't cut it. Yeah, but it was different songs, right? It was different songs. When Steve came in, they were doing different types of tunes. Andre, to really be honest, this is too much drama in Journey right now. And people are getting sick of it already. Yep. Pat Michaels, Toto is bigger in Europe than Journey. Yep. iGolf, J. Tweetler, Steve Perry is worth 10 Mariah Careys. Yeah. That whole Celine Dion thing was crazy, right? I think they purposely did that to get the press that they in fact got. Right? And I think, let me just say something that's controversial. I think the likability factor for Celine Dion is not the highest. You know, she is one of the greatest singers of all time. Remember I had said on this channel, we did some research. When I was a program director, we did some research. And we realized that Madonna songs scored higher when people didn't know it was Madonna. Interesting, isn't it? Somehow they liked the songs because honestly, some of those songs are fantastic. I was never a Madonna fan, but I can, Open Your Heart and Live to Tell. I love that kind of stuff. Those were good songs, whether you like Madonna or not. But Lucky Star, to me, that was just trash. But it wasn't to a lot of people. People liked it. Oh, thank you, Journey 100, for your super chat. I appreciate that. So anyway, I think the Celine Dion thing is a few different things going on. Just an off topic, the likability factor of Celine Dion. People love her. I find I can't watch Celine Dion. I can't watch her sing. It's just too much for me. Like I can't. Just too showy for me, right? Remember Anna on Saturday Night Live would make "I am the greatest singer in the world." Hey, don't you know? Remember she makes fun of Celine Dion, like as if Celine Dion would. She knows she's the best singer in the world. There's an issue, reputation, someone else's business. Celine Dion, it made it seem like, even though she might not, but there's that air of her that she would go around telling people she's the best singer in the world. Not that she did, but that's, I think, a feeling that people have. Plus, the biggest thing is Rolling Stone didn't include her because they knew they'd get headlines everywhere, and that list is, everyone's talking about it. I decided not to do a video on it, but I was going to, because of there's a likability thing or lack thereof sometimes with Celine Dion. And don't get me wrong, she's a great singer. I'm sure she's the nicest person in the world, but there's a showy, over-the-top showiness about her, you know? Oh, Bruce says the guitar player's wife, you mean Neil Sean, made a Facebook post attacking Kane's lawyers. Denise Van Velsen, Steve does not need Journey. He's great on his own. Regina, yes. Regina, love his voice. Bob says they are fighting about money. What the? Andre, to respond to Steve Perry after the Neil Sean did to him, it's pretty much over, yeah. So, oh, John, I'm finally getting to your comment. I'm sorry, I was supposed to get your comment right away. I've given up on them long ago. They both lost their sense of reality. John, bang, there you go. Lori says, oh, Lori, thank you for your super chat. That's very kind of you. You know what, to be honest, I don't think I've received a super chat in a long time. I mean, you know why? Because it was Christmas. It's tough time, so thank you very much. Journey 100, thanks for your super chat. Yes, Toto is going on with them. Elver away. BK, as long as Toto is unaffected on all this, I don't really care. They're going on. And I mean, really, the speculation has been for a long time. Not that anybody knew inside information, but really, it would, I mean, who else, right, from the early lineup would they get? I mean, they can't do Steve Smith anymore and Ross Valerie because of the obvious, right, of what happened. But I like the early, let's look at the first lineup. February 73 to January 74. Neil Sean, Ross Valerie, Greg Rolie, George Tickner, and Prairie Prince on drums. Prairie Prince from the Tubes, who we, and I remember Too Late to Say Goodbye, my favorite song from Richard Marx. I looked and I went, who is that playing drums? Sounds like he's playing on big Rubbermaid things. And it was Prairie Prince. I digress. I came in late, Jason says. What's up with the 50th anniversary tour? Well, I tell you, Greg Rolie's coming on the tour. And today, there's a few things to, if someone just came on, a few things. Reuters reported, let me find it. Reuters reported today that Neil Sean says, this is after a new keyboard player came in. That was the old keyboard player. I haven't been here and not here to take orders. Never have, never will. It's my band, and I'll own it as I should and make the right changes as needed. Right? So there you go. So get Greg Rolie's back into the fold. And I would think that means Jonathan Cain's not. No one's officially said that, but it sure sounds like, oh, thank you for your super chat, the Jewish Cowboy. All drama is coming from one person and one person only. That is Neil. Remember, Perry, Herbie, Ross, Smitty, all voted to demote him. Irving Azoff told him to quit. The reason is obvious. Guitar 2000, early Journey only. No, they won't do that. Well, they got Arnel Pineda for that, right? Arnel Pineda, their lead singer, and has been for quite a few years. He's hold on, I'm just looking at the timelines here of the Journey stuff. And I was surprised, again, let me reiterate, I was surprised 2007 Arnel Pineda to present and how few, there's a lot of changes in Journey, but the major players, I was surprised it was not as much as I thought. So that first lineup from 73, 74, like I said, is Neil Schon, Ross Valerie, Greg Rolie, George Tickner, who was a rhythm guitarist and backing vocals, and Prairie Prince on drums. Then we started getting into cementing a little bit. February 74 to May 75, Neil Schon, Ross Valerie, Greg Rolie, George Tickner, Ansley Dunbar. Things cemented even more. There, every band starts, I always call it cementing, getting a sound. A lot of bands don't hit the ground running as far as sound, but a few have. Like the Cars debut, they come out and that was their sound, right? Led Zeppelin, even though the first album is more bluesy, they were always bluesy, but they hit the ground running as a fully formed band, right? And Journey changed. Like a lot of bands. Look at the Moody Blues, Denny Lane years, Go Now. Remember? That was a totally different band than when Justin Hayward and John Lodge joined after that. And Days of Future Past, like just one of the biggest concept albums of all time. Totally different bands. Genesis, from Genesis to Revelation to the second album, sound like a different band. So some bands take a little while. So May 75 to June 77, Neil Schon, Ross Valerie, Greg Rolie, Ansley Dunbar. There you go. Then they had the new lead singer for Robert Fleischman for one incarnation. And then came Steve Perry, 77. And everything changed. When Steve Perry joins your band, it can't help but change your band. There's no way, right? Let me get some questions. Phil Brown, I couldn't care less about band politics. Frank P. What do they say when you have problems with everyone? It may be that you are the problem. I'm not saying it's Neil. I don't ultimately know. But some people behind the scenes said, when this comes through, this will be settled out of court. And if it's not, someone will look really bad. But I've heard that from both sides of the camp. From people who know Neil Schon and people who know Jonathan Cain. Tony says, hey guys, Phil Brown, shut up and play the music. You've been compensated to do in the first place. Damar, oh no. What is Journey going through now? Happy 2023 and love your channel. Thanks, Damar. Every band has drama. Yeah, some more than others. Justin E, thank you. Blues Smoker. I was at Cow Palace instead of Winterland, New York City. Damar says, well, John Lodge was the original lineup before he left and returned. Jeffrey Jackson. Yeah, but when it comes to the Moody Blues in the beginning, like Go Now is a very Danny Lane's an interesting chap. I'd love to talk to him. He's always got interesting Paul McCartney stories. Oh yeah, Celine Dion is number one singer according to Foster and Quincy Jones. Well, yeah. Justin E, Arnel is good, but Perry is gold. Arnel works it, man. I'm a Steve Perry fanatic. I love Steve Perry. But I got to give props to Arnel Pineda for doing what he does. It's cool. Look at it back of me. It's going crazy back there. That's some crazy stuff. There's a spam. Remove. Oh, hold on. I gotta ban this person. There you go. That spam should go now. Yep, it's all gone. Egypt, maybe they're going through middle-age crisis. They're way past middle-age, man. Damn who. I'm just glad Greg Rolie is returning for the 50th. Yeah, me too. That is, if you're going to look at some kind of crystallized happiness in this mess, that's kind of a nice thing to have him back. Oh, thanks for your super chat. Justini. I think that's how you say it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Uh, Chris Pulo. This is a case of in which a corporate problem is making damage to the artistic image of a band. Maybe a good way to resolve the financial fight could make peace. Yeah, Pat Michael. How about the great Steve Ajiri? Yeah, I like Steve. Steve looked like Steve Perry. I remember when he came out, didn't you think? He sounded like Steve Perry and he looked like Steve Perry. That didn't last a long time. There was the Shuffle Singers. Where are they? Let me see. Hold on. Let's see the Shuffle Singers. Jeff Scott Soto, who we interviewed, 2006, 2007. Steve Ajiri, 98 to 2006, so a lot longer than I remembered. Robert Fleischman. I like Prairie Prince as a drummer. Of course, Greg Rolie. Sorry, I had some homemade soup. Heartburn. Let me reiterate. We've got a lot of new people on here, so let me reiterate what we are going to say. Neil Sean says that Journey co-founder Greg Rolie is coming back for the 50th anniversary tour. A lot of fans he was quoting fans saying, "Oh, it's so great that he's a better keyboard player and all that." Well, I don't know about that. I'm not a keyboard player. A lot of props to Greg Rolie. And we quoted Greg saying that he didn't leave Journey because of Steve Perry, as he calls him Perry. A lot of people call him Perry. I didn't know that till I talked to Steve Lukather's son. And Steve Perry's like a second dad to Trev Lukather. But he calls him Perry too. Now, in the last interview I just did with him just before Christmas, I asked him, why do you call him Perry? He said, oh, there's too many Steves around. And my dad's name's Steve. And not everyone calls my dad Luke. Basically, deep friends, like the real friends, and the real fans call him Luke. I call him Luke. I'm not really a friend of his, but I know the guy, right? So that's why they call him Perry. And I think some people just call him Perry. So this is what, let me see if I can find it. Greg Rolie said about leaving Journey. I'll read it again. He says, why did you leave Journey? Because I didn't like my life anymore. I said this a million times, and I know people that say this is not the reason, but I left because I was unhappy with what I was doing in my life. I love the management. I love the music. Love what we built. I just wasn't happy. And he continues. Everyone thinks it was because Perry came in and started singing all the leads. My God, again, I was spread too thin, and all these keyboard parts and singing, he was a welcome sight to me. And he could sing like a bird. So anyway, Rolie's coming back for the 50th anniversary, insinuating that Jonathan Cain isn't. Now today, as I mentioned a while ago, I have to say, because I'm repeating myself, Reuters, the news agency, released a quote from Neil Sean, the guitarist, who's the last remaining member from the early days, as far as ownership of the band. He says, I haven't been here or not here to take orders. Never have, never will. It's my band, and I'll own it as I should and make the right changes as needed. There you go. Interesting, huh? I mean, Greg was there way in the beginning, but I don't think he has ownership in the band anymore. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. So, and the other latest part is Journey's Neil Sean accuses Paula White, who's married to Jonathan Cain, of improperly accessing the band's bank account. So he's going after her as well. That he said that Jonathan Cain has, I'm paraphrasing, don't take legal advice from me, that Jonathan Cain let her have access to that American Express card that started the whole thing. Oh my God. And none of us really know what's going on. A lot of us are speculating. I don't know what's going on. We're just reporting on what everyone is saying, right? But one thing's for sure, this feels so incredibly heavy. How long have we been on here? Send lawyers, guns, and money. Warren Zevon. Yeah. Blue Smoker. The David Booth. Toto Hydra Classic. I like Hydra. The Toto albums that I wasn't crazy about, or not as crazy about, I like a lot more now. Can you hear my stomach? I'm making homemade soup. Let me get some of your comments. I'm going to go back here. I have to go back. And thanks for all the people who gave us some super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's always weird with Christmas and New Year because viewership for most channels go down because you're with your family. You don't have time to watch my ugly mug and listen to the stuff we report. Justin E., I saw a video of Queen with the new guy, Adam Lambert, and it showed how powerful Freddie was. Yeah, BK, Greg Rolie's amazing and super nice guy. I am all about seeing Toto and hate seeing the infighting with Journey. Agreed. Damar says, oh, Adam Lambert. Ron D., I think Jeff Scott Soto sang lead a tour or two. Yeah, he did. Yes, Adam. Dahu. Is Dean Castronovo now a permanent again? Well, he's with them. I mean, they're hired guns. Jonathan Cain and Neil Sean are the only two people who are really the band. Everyone else is a hired gun. Everyone else, like even Arnel Pineda, he gets paid a salary, right? When Burnley Ledden came back to the Eagles, they offered him an amount of money. And I mean, I talked to him. He told me. And he came and did the show. So everyone was happy. Damar says, I met Steve Ojiri around 2000 when they toured with Styx and REO Speedwagon. Oh, cool. Steve seems like a nice guy. Not only did he look like Steve Perry, his name was Steve. He sounded like Steve Perry. Justin E., Gowan with Styx works pretty good. I agree. Even though I would like to see, Damar says, I would like to see Dennis DeYoung. I said that. He didn't. Jeffrey Bond. I love Steve Ajuri as well. Nobody is Steve, though. Yeah. Well said. Greg Parker. Greed is the common denominator here, and it squashed the integrity of the band, period, in my opinion. Justin, he says, yep, these amazing places. Prairie Prince went on to play drums with Utopia and then showed up much later with the New Cars and, of course, the Tubes. Greg Parker. Totally agree, brother. See if I got some comments I can... Oh, God, more spam. She say. There you go. Should be gone. There you go. Spam here. Yeah, Justin, thank you. I got rid of them. I think we should all just take a breath. I must find my mantra. It just tires me. It just tires me. So reiterating before we go off the air, because I have some today in history stuff I wanted to do today. And it's nice when we have a lot of viewership. It's great. I love reading your comments. I'm always so interested in what you have to say. It helps me guide what we're going to talk about, right, on the channel. Journey's always a big band. Toto's a big band. Yes. Elton John is starting to be. I was always surprised because I've talked to so many people who have played with Elton John. And every time I'd get like 1,000 hits, 500 hits, and I'm going, it's Elton John. I mean, I don't know why, but I think maybe until I get Elton John himself, which I'm not sure I ever will, maybe, I don't know. I don't understand it. So let us reiterate quickly. Neil Sean says fans will see Journey's co-founder, Greg Rolie, on the band's 50th anniversary tour, insinuating again that Jonathan Cain won't be on it. Now, Neil Sean and Greg Rolie played together in Journey Through Time a couple of years ago, 2018-19, with Dean Castronovo, who's with Journey as a drummer, vocalist, and Marco Mendoza. Today, Neil Sean accused Jonathan Cain's wife, Paula White, of also being on that American Express card, which started everything. There was an American Express card that was issued, Neil says, without his knowing, for the band to Jonathan Cain. Now he says Jonathan Cain's wife has access to it. And then the last thing with Reuters There was a tweet that Sean says, I haven't been here and not here to take orders. Never have, never will. It's my band. I'll own it as I should and make the changes that's needed. So it sounds like Jonathan Cain, I don't know, it sure sounds like Jonathan Cain will not be on the tour, which will anger a lot of people, I'm sure, because he's a favorite to a lot of people. When I interviewed Jonathan, he was just a nice guy to talk to. We didn't talk politics. I said, Jonathan, we're not going to talk politics. It's going to alienate half the people. He says, nope, that's fine with me. Everything was good. And we don't talk politics on our channel. We try not to. Why? You know, you got a lot of channels to go to for that. So there you go. I got 161 people on here. Do you have any questions? Why do zebras have stripes? I don't know. Ron D. I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing, I hope, Peter Gabriel's new album. I know. I'm so excited. When I interviewed Tony Levin after 9/11, I interviewed Jerry Marotta, but he wasn't playing with him anymore at the time. But after 9/11, pardon me, I've said this story a lot on this channel. I interviewed Tony Levin, who was on the Narada label at the time playing New Age music. I was programming a New Age station at the time. I left rock and roll, was New Age. I love New Age music. So I asked him, when's the new Peter Gabriel album coming out? I remember, this was right after 9/11. And he told me his wife was downtown during 9/11. He was worried about her. I think she had a suite there, or she was staying there, or was there at the very least. Long time ago, I haven't heard the interview. I should put that up. And then he told me none of us know. You know, Manu Cachet was playing with him at that point as drummer. And he says, no one really knows, but we go in and out and we play some music now and then. And now the Gabriel album is coming out. There is a tour. So that's good news. I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan. Behind that green, oh, you can't see it. What am I thinking about? All my CDs. A lot of you who go onto this channel, watch my interviews. Behind that green screen behind me here is lots of CDs. I love New Age music. Thanks, Damar. Nick says they have done unjust and should have been a band showcasing fought over complaining. Oh, I have no. Oh, Brian Eno's music, Vladimir, music for airports was the first thing I heard. I have an interview with Mark Howard, the producer, who's worked with Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Peter Gabriel. Of course, he was the sidekick to Daniel Lanois as an engineer. You know, cicadas down south, they make that weird noise, right? If you're deep down south. He was deep down south with, I forget who they were recording with. They were with Daniel Lanois. And at one point, Brian Eno comes up and Brian Eno is mixing a certain thing on the keyboards. And he taught Mark Howard how to make sounds, more or less. And this clip will come out. I've already edited it, but I haven't put it up yet. And basically, the window was open, and he does this sound that cicadas make outside. And then the cicadas emulated the exact sound outside. And he says he got goosebumps. It was like crazy, man. Then he did it again, and the bugs did the same thing outside. And there's a Brian Eno story for you. Crazy, man. But he taught him how to. And at the airport, Daniel Lanois told him, okay, you need to go to the airport and with a Brian Eno, looking for Brian Eno. And Mark said, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I knew I'd probably recognize him. Brian came up to him. He says, are you Mark? And then they took off together. There you go. Hike with Mike. Hey, Hike with Mike. Nice to have you on here. Journey will never be the same without Steve Perry. Just like Def Leppard is never the same after Steve Clark died. Awesome story, Vladimir, thank you. These amazing places. BK, I grew up on Queen. When hearing Martel live, it sounded just like him. Yeah, Mark Martel is like crazy good. Perry got a sweet deal. He was done anyway. Tommy Burke, I'm reading these backwards. Hope you don't mind. Will this be rebroadcast? I just stumbled onto here. Okay, don't worry about it. Tommy, really quickly. Sorry, guys, if you heard this. We're gonna help Tommy out. Here it is. Neil Sean says fans will see Journey co-founder Greg Rolie on the 50th anniversary tour, which insinuates Jonathan Cain will not be there. Also, remember, Neil Sean, Journey Through Time. He played again with Greg Rolie a few years ago, 2018-19. I'm going really fast here, just for you. Journey's Neil Sean. This is the headline: accuses Paula White, who's married to Jonathan Cain, of also going into that American Express account, who Neil Sean says was not official because he didn't know about it. Turns out Paula White, according to him, has access to it. And then, this is fast, see? I'm doing this really fast. And then today, Neil Sean, according to Reuters, said, I haven't been here and not here to take orders. Never have been, never will. It's my band. And I own it, basically, and he can make the change whatever he wants. I paraphrase the last part. There you go. Now you're up to date. That's the latest. And it feels like crazy. That's why I put War of the Roses, which I haven't mentioned in like 25 minutes. Because War of the Roses, even at the end, when you think Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas are getting back together, you think, oh my God, it's going to happen. And at the end, she rejects him again. I don't think these guys will ever. I don't know if these guys will ever be on stage together. Who knows? I don't know. Lori Baldazzi. Hi, Lori. I love that you share that you moved to new age music from rock. It reminds me of the music directors had passion for what they did, which is music. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. Justin E. Lou Graham, that's the man. He rules. Yeah, it's hard with the Lou Graham story. That sucks the way he was treated, she was saying. Or you were saying. I don't know if that's a he or she. Why am I insinuating you're a she? Sorry if you're not. And that's another thing I do on this channel. Sometimes I'll see a username and I'll assume that it's a male or female. I'm going, why? What the hell? So sorry about that. Anybody, if I've done that tonight, I'm sorry. I do that sometimes. So I'm going to pack things in. I'm hoping to. I need to shave. I look like a bum. I need to do some more today in history. It's actually almost 11 o'clock here, so it's quite late. So, closing thoughts? Is it going to get better before it gets worse? Is it going to get worse before it gets better? Which is usually the case, the latter. I don't think they're going to share the stage. There's just too much going on. And it's so sharp right now between Jonathan Cain and Neil Sean that I wouldn't be surprised if they're not yelling at each other on stage. So, again, it's better to have, it's better to, I'm just checking if there's anything new. Nothing really new on it. Greg Rolie, bring him on. The band can replicate it. I would miss Jonathan Cain if he wasn't there because he's such a big part of the band. But you just want if anyone, maybe not legally, but if anyone deserves to keep going on, it would be Neil Sean. But a lot of people come on tonight saying that Neil's doing a lot of it. I don't know. Was there an unofficial American Express account that Neil Sean wasn't aware of? Jonathan Cain says that's not true. Neil was well aware of it, and he's being a hypocrite. So look at all these albums behind me. Look at all that hard work, right? You look at a family, and I hate to dumb it down, but man, woman get together, they have a baby, 2 babies, 3, then they divorce. Their work is, the babies are like the albums behind me. This great work that can't be replicated by anybody else, like a kid, like you, like me. And then it's a shame, but it is what it is. Mark Burchett, hey Mark. Neil's a control freak. Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. That's these amazing places. This was a lot of fun, John. Thank you. Thanks for always bringing us some music news with a smile. Total Forever, BK. Nick, Dean's an amazing singer. And I didn't know that till a couple of years ago. These videos when he's in his car. These videos when his car's just singing. I'm going, God. And I know he's doing Steve Perry, but he can do it. Right? And with Arnel Pineda together, it's a good show. I just don't think Jonathan Cain can be on stage with Neil Sean anymore. How can they pull that off without, putting one puts the other in a headlock, gives them a noogie. Yeah, I'll show you why I oughta. It's almost at a point where they'll do that. Again, getting back to War of the Roses hanging from the chandelier. That's crazy. So, I don't know. I wish it wasn't so public, but it is. And thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate everyone coming on. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a Today in History. We don't call it Today in History. We just talk about someone on our sister channel. But I appreciate everyone who came on. Thank you. Support the channel. Even if you don't like what's going on, please like our video. You know, I like coming on live and getting your point of view because it's important. You're the fans, right? I'm a fan just like you guys are. I got into radio 40 years ago and I'm still in radio and I've got to do my radio show in about 10 minutes. I got into radio because of music. I meet a lot of radio announcers. Sometimes I'm surprised by the fact that they don't have albums, not now, but before. They didn't have albums in their... They just got into radio because they wanted to get into radio. I got into radio because I love music. And that's why I'm in. You wouldn't believe some of the... I've been in like big radio announcers' houses and I'd walk in like in the 90s and 80s and I'd go, where's your albums? And they go, oh, I don't really have any. I'm going, Scooby-Doo. I'm going, what? You don't have any albums? Who doesn't have albums? They weren't real music fans. They were when they were on the radio. Didn't happen a lot, but when it happened, you remembered and go, this guy's not really a music fan. He just plays a music fan. Like, hold on, I'll show you. Hold on. Like this is my, hold on, let me show you. This is my wall in high school, just for anyone. This is the wall that I had. It's still in my bedroom that I did on blacklight when I was 18, 19 years old. This is the wall that I had in my room, in my bedroom. It's still in my bedroom. We're ready to move again. And I'm going to bring it with me out west because we're moving back out west. So this is my wall that all blacklight paint. And I did that because I love music. A lot of these are Canadian because I'm Canadian. But there you go. People have asked me if I want to sell it. I cannot sell it. So I got into radio because I like music. And you guys are here or because you love Journey. Maybe you don't like who likes the crap, right? No Dio on the wall, but because there's no individual. Notice, okay, I'll put it on again just for a split second. Notice, oops, wrong button. The wall is band names. Notice it's all band names. There's no, I mean, Elton John was my favorite artist back then, but Elton John's nowhere to be heard. I started with April Wine, not in the middle. Chicago's in the middle, but right left of Chicago. And then I did Heart. But anyway, I'm showing this to say that, you know, I was always a music fan, always. And that's still in my bedroom. Did I know Jeff McIntosh? What, the Macintosh? Do you mean, are you talking about Miramichi? Nick Palumbo? I'm from Miramichi, Northeast New Brunswick. So I only knew one McIntosh family, if you know that about me. And that was the people who owned the Volkswagen dealership. Is that who you're talking about before I leave? Oh, Damar said, thank you, loving every... on the Canadian channel, I always use that backdrop because it has a lot of Canadian. But I'm going to wait for Nick. No, I don't know who you mean. Well, who do you mean by Macintosh? Me, Elton, CCC, The Who? I'm not sure who you mean. Oh, had a radio show. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. No, I was in radio. I started in major market in Elton, yeah, because you're an Elton John fan. In Edmonton, and then I went to Vancouver, worked for CFUN, and I'm still working in Vancouver since 1990. I do my show from the East Coast now at Move 103 in Vancouver, and I was a program director of California 103. And, oh my God, what's wrong with my memory? What the hell? Of The Breeze? I just got a major memory blank. I worked for CFRN. I worked for a lot of different stations. So anyway, there you go. I gotta go. I gotta record my show. He mentioned you before. Played local unsigned bands. I don't know him. No. No, I don't know him. I used to. I was. You might know me because I syndicated radio shows across the country in the '80s at 45 markets across the country. So people might know my name. I don't know. It's hard to say. So guys, hang in there. Take a nice big deep breath. Find your mantra. No, you don't have to. But it's not the end of the world. If Greg Rolie's coming back, at least we'll get a quality show and they won't be fighting on stage. Remember, noogie, headlock noogie. You don't want that. So I'm sure Jonathan King can do his own thing. Breathe. Okay, hang in there, guys. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. I can't read any more comments. I'll read them after the show. But I'm really tired now. Now I've got to record my radio show in Vancouver. That'll be fun. We don't talk about drama on that show. Take good care of yourselves, guys. You want to support the channel, there are links in the description. Have a good night, and hopefully this thing will blow over. No, it won't. John Beaudin, Rock History Music.